Alex Eala carries this kind of support wherever she goes. Arrivals halls flooded with Philippine flags. Filipino nurses, overseas workers, entire families reportedly streaming through Manchester and Birmingham airports in numbers that turn passport control into a Tagalog conversation. All of them moving in one direction, Edgbaston Priory Club, Birmingham, England. For one reason and one reason only. Alex Eala is in a final. A crowd that should not exist here by the time those fans reach their seats, the noise inside a WTA 125 tournament, a tier of tennis that usually plays to half-empty bleachers, had become something broadcasters could not stop pointing cameras at. The LTA production team kept cutting away from the rallies, because the stands had become the story. And at the center of it, a 21-year-old from Quezon City was marching through the draw without dropping a first set, building toward the most emotionally charged title match of her professional career. Here is the tension nobody in the mainstream tennis press wants to state plainly. Alex Eala has become one of the most commercially significant players in women's tennis before she has won a single WTA-level title. Gigi Salmon, lead tennis presenter at Sky Sports, said this at a public industry event in London, not as a compliment, but as a statement of verified market reality. In terms of appeal and the crowds that follow her, she may already be the biggest star in the sport. She went further. She described the atmosphere at Eala's matches in Dubai in 2026, when Eala was still ranked outside the top 40, as feeling like a pop concert. People screaming the way they would for Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift comparisons at a WTA 125 event, for a player not yet inside the top 30. That is not normal. That is a chasm between what the rankings say and what the market already knows. And that gap is exactly what Nike has been trying to close, one gesture at a time. The gestures keep getting bigger. The hair tie that started everything start with the Sampaguita hair tie, because it tells you everything about how Nike actually thinks. When a brand as disciplined and deliberate as Nike creates a non-commercial, culturally rooted, one-of-a-kind piece of kit for a player ranked outside the top 50, that is not goodwill. That is the beginning of a story being deliberately built. The Sampaguita is the national flower of the Philippines. It blooms at night. It is used in religious ceremonies. It has been woven into the hair of Filipino women for generations. Nike chose that flower, not a generic design, not a logo rework, for a player making her Wimbledon debut. The signal to every brand intelligence team watching was unmistakable. This was not a routine endorsement. This was the opening move of a long-term cultural construction project. On Monday, February 23, 2026, Nike's official Philippines account posted a photo from their Beaverton, Oregon headquarters. Eala, inside the building, smiling, gear laid out around her. The caption, written in Filipino, Salamat sa pagbisita. Thank you for visiting. That single post reached hundreds of thousands of engagements across the Filipino diaspora. Picture the room where Nike's global marketing team reviewed that engagement data, watching fans in Dubai, London, and Manila reacting with the same intensity to one athlete trying on gear that they would normally reserve for a Wimbledon champion. The math writes itself. Then Birmingham happened June 2nd. Eala walks onto center court against Priscilla Honorable, opens the first set in roughly 22 minutes. Wins 6-0. Second set, 6-2. It is not a match. It is a demonstration. June 4th, Alina Kariva pushes her to the edge, a 2-5 deficit in the second set. Any player carrying doubts about their grass game folds right there. Eala wins the next 5 games. Final score, 6-2, 7-5. June 5th, Manon Sawanu, 71 total points across the quarterfinal, the majority going Eala's way. Final score, 6-3, 6-2. 3 matches. 0 sets dropped, heading into the semifinal. This is what Nike scouts see when they watch the tape. Not just the results, the way she wins. The ability to absorb a 5-game deficit and answer it with 5 straight games of her own. The composure of a player who has been told repeatedly, by rankings, by seedings, by Grand Slam draws, that she is not yet part of the conversation, and who keeps walking back into that conversation anyway, and taking a seat. The fans saw it too. Filipino supporters traveled to Edgbaston Priory Club for a WTA 125 event, not a slam, not a premier tournament, a 125, and filled the grounds with noise loud enough for players on the adjacent courts to hear. You were never wrong about her. The world simply needed this many wins to finally agree with you. That crowd is not a coincidence. It is a market. And when Sky Sports' Gigi Salmon, a credible mainstream British broadcasting voice with no stake in Filipino national pride, validates exactly what those fans already knew, it stops being a fan narrative. It becomes a commercial fact. The Michael Jordan comparison: Kim Clijsters won 4 Grand Slam singles titles. She reached world number 1 twice. She retired, had children, and then won the 2011 Australian Open on her return, a comeback so improbable it permanently established her as someone who understands what extraordinary actually looks like from the inside. She is Belgian. She has no nationalistic reason to promote a Filipina tennis player. She is, by any reasonable measure, an objective voice. And on the Served with Andy Roddick podcast, she said this Eala has to deal with the life of being like Michael Jordan in the Philippines. Clijsters did not say, the next big thing. She did not say, rising star. She invoked Michael Jordan, the standard against which every cultural sports icon of the modern era gets measured, and placed Alex Eala directly inside that framework. Then she added the warning. Eala needs to be protected like a big star. That warning carries real weight, because what Clijsters understands, what any four-time Grand Slam champion who has personally navigated commercial pressure understands, is that the moment a player's cultural footprint outpaces their ranking, the commercial machinery surrounding them has to operate at the highest possible level, immediately, or the moment gets mismanaged. Nike heard that podcast. Nike has seen the Dubai crowds. Nike was at Beaverton in February, watching Eala try on gear in their development lab. When Kim Clijsters says protect her like a star, Nike's response is to build a commercial structure that finally matches the cultural reality that already exists. Why this is bigger than Birmingham? This story runs well past one tournament. Southeast Asia is the next major battleground for global sportswear and sports media revenue, a region of over 700 million people, a rising middle class, digital-first sports consumption, and no single dominant sporting identity yet established. Nike, Adidas, and every major brand are racing to own the emotional relationship with that market before it solidifies around someone else. Alex Eala is not simply a Filipino tennis player. She is the most emotionally resonant point of entry any brand has ever had into that market through the sport of tennis. When Filipino fans book international flights to watch a WTA 125 event in Birmingham, England, that is not fandom. That is brand loyalty in action, the kind of loyalty marketing departments spend hundreds of millions trying to manufacture, and still usually fail to. What's coming? The timeline ahead is unambiguous. After Birmingham, Eala holds a confirmed wild card at the 2026 Bad Homburg Open, June 21st through 27th, the prestigious grass tournament 1 week before Wimbledon, where reports indicate she and Venus Williams may be granted a doubles partnership that would send the tennis world into a full international news cycle. Then comes Wimbledon 2020 SIXS main draw, her second appearance, ranked 37th, carrying the grass court form she has been building in real time. Beyond that, the US Open in late August, where her name is already surfacing in press conference contexts as the next major commercial milestone marker. Every one of those events is a potential announcement window. And industry sources have made clear the deals currently being discussed are not small. 11 days earlier, in Paris 11 days before walking onto the grass at Edgbaston, Alex Eala walked off a clay court in Paris, having lost 6-4, 6-2 in the first round of Roland Garros 2026, beaten by American Eva Jovic, seeded 17th, a player Eala has publicly described as a close friend. It was her second consecutive first-round Grand Slam exit this year. She did not give a long press conference about rebuilding. She did not post a reflective essay about the clay season. She showed up in Birmingham 6 days later and won the first set of her opening match in 22 minutes. 6-0, she had said it herself, in a Tennis 365 exclusive interview before any of this began. Her day-to-day life stays the same work ethic, the same attention to detail. And at the Nike headquarters visit, when a reporter asked whether she had become the new Manny Pacquiao, the greatest Philippine sporting icon of the modern era, she answered in Tagalog, that a sporting legend like Pacquiao is on another level, and that she is still far from there. That humility, delivered in her native language, without performance or calculation, is not deflection. It is a blueprint. A player who answers questions about her own legend in the language of her grandmother, who walks off a Roland Garros first-round loss and opens a Birmingham grass match with a bagel set, that player does not need anyone to tell her who she is. The pattern Nike has already built. It started with a flower no one else would ever get. It became a Vogue Philippines cover in Nike gear. A visit to world headquarters with a caption written in Filipino. A crowd in Birmingham, England, screaming for a WTA 125 semi-finalist the way crowds usually scream for Wimbledon champions. Kim Clijsters invoking Michael Jordan. Gigi Salmon abandoning journalistic neutrality to call her, without hesitation, already the biggest star. The specific contract number, whatever it turns out to be, will eventually become public. Nike does not build cultural campaigns at this scale and leave them unnamed forever. What has already been confirmed is the pattern. From a Sampaguita hair tie that was never sold, to a Vogue cover, to Beaverton, to Birmingham. Each step in that sequence larger than the last. The trajectory only moves in one direction. Alex Eala did not become this story by accident. She built it one match, one set, one unbroken moment of composure at a time. And right now, rain delay or not, she is still out there, waiting to walk back onto that Birmingham court and prove, one more time, what everyone watching her already understands. When Nike finally announces the full scope of what they are building around Alex Eala, at Wimbledon, at the US Open, or whenever the number becomes public, what do you think it should actually look like? And which brand has the most to lose if they are not in the room when that announcement lands?